Hey, it's Lumentini lit up. And I am a little lit up today. In fact, I'm a little fired up, a little irritated, frustrated. And maybe that's all part of the process that we're going through with this. Last time I sent out a little update, I was letting you all know that I had to go in front of the legal system because of all this and see where I was at. And that one piece of legal issue created so much turmoil within me that I let that one moment prolong further than it needed to because of my paranoia of the situation, making something bigger than it was, meaning it was a simple arraignment. That's all it was. Not guilty, whatever, set a court date, move on. But in my mind, I had this huge fiasco going on in my head that they were going to handcuff me and walk me to jail. It was the furthest thing from the truth. But yet in my mind, I had put it up in there as this big giant fiasco. So I still in my head, I had these options of this or that, going away or facing the music. And it was like, God, why do you continue to put yourself through all of this stress? And it's unnecessary stress. And that on top of a lot of other things I want to tell you about as far as where I'm at in my process were unnecessary stresses only created by one person. And we're going to talk about this a lot today. And this phrase, I know it can be cliche-ish. Is that a good word? Cliche-ish. Things don't happen to you. They happen because of you. And there's nothing more true to that right now than me as your example. I am your guinea pig of that statement. 100%. All of this stuff that is happening to me did not happen to me. It happened because of me. And we're going to get into detail about that. In my mind, creating something that was not even there out of something as far as what was going to happen to me. Thus, the suicide attempt. And this is a continuation of that theme of surviving suicide and all the crap in between. And what's going on right now is all the crap in between. And how we create that crap for ourselves. 100%. For example, I'm no longer doing hair where I was doing hair because of what I did at that spot. And creating this big giant fiasco circus that was not necessary. Again, I was so distraught about this court date that was simply just a piece of the process of the next step of getting through this. But in my mind, it was like, oh my gosh, they're going to throw me in jail because I've reached out and tried to talk to her and I'm not supposed to talk to her. And just in my mind, I can't live without her. All this craziness that you just create for yourself. Things don't happen to you. They happen because of you. So thinking in my head, I was going to clear my head, drive off to Florida, come back, and do what I did. Even though all I had to do was go home and go to bed and come back to work, and I'd still be there. I would still be there today and simply going through this process, and everything would be hunky-dory. But it's not hunky-dory because now I have a different place of occupation. I'm not a big fan of where I live right now, but it's a place to lay my head. I don't like the fact that I haven't gotten all my stuff back from the old place, but then I'm getting so frustrated by texting all of these people saying, hey, where's this? Where's that? Where's that? How come you guys aren't responding? And it's, dude, take a breath. It's not their problem. It's your problem. You're the one that did what you did, created the problem. You had no access to your stuff because of it. And then you're relying on them out of the generosity of their heart to take their time out of their schedule so that you can get all your stuff back. That is not their fault. That is not their problem. That is your fault. That is Patrick's fault. So we don't have things happen to us. They happen because of us. Now, let's say that is most likely the truth 100% of the time. But there are the exceptions. There are things where, hey, this guy ran into me, or I got caught in a tornado or a hurricane or whatever. There are the circumstances that things happened to you. You didn't create the tornado or the car crash or whatever it is. Okay, I'll give you all that. But this whole situation was created by one person. It was Patrick. Now, what happened on the night of the 29th of January, yes, the ultimate person that created the issue was Patrick. But there's more people involved. But regardless, what had happened and what had happened that night and what has happened since then and all the frustration that I might be feeling and all that other stuff is just, okay, Patrick, it was a big revelation. I was very irritated when I woke up this morning because I just don't like my current situation. But it is what it is, and I can't do anything about it other than move forward, step by step. Get back to work. If you don't like where you live, find another place to live or whatever you got to do. Get past this situation, take care of the issues that you got to take care of so that you can be a better person, better Christian, better follower of Jesus, and also just a better human being overall. Yes, I get upset when I think, oh my God, I'm 54 years old. God, I'm 54. There's a lot of people that have started over much later in life with a much less than I was talking to a client yesterday, and some of the most beautiful information comes from clients. And had I actually just listened, just called out, just reached out, just made a phone call, just did whatever I needed to do on that way back from Florida instead of going that direction. Anyway, one of the beautiful things that he said was, yes, Patrick, there's a lot of people your age that are starting over or whatever, but the difference between you and them is that you have a story to tell. Not to diminish that anybody doesn't have a story to tell in their life for whatever reason why they are in their position, but I truly believe that I am here now on this podcast, on this beautiful platform, to be able to share my story so that I can help other people out there not go down the wrong road or at least question what they're doing so that they can make a better decision. Now, my situation that happened on the 29th just didn't happen. It was a culmination of a lot of things that I think built up, and enough was enough. And it escalated, and there was a altercation, and then it is what it is. I hate it. I regret it. I am sick to my stomach still to this day because of it. But that's part of what we're going through. Now, am I the first person to ever have done such a thing? No. Am I the last person to ever have done such a thing? No. Far from it. But maybe if I can deter someone, say, hey, man, pay attention to these red flags, pay attention to what this person's saying, and maybe you can avoid it. But I have a feeling that some human beings are only built to experience something so that as to learn from it. And I, of course, am learning a lot from this whole situation. And it's not something that I've never done before. I have never done such an act in my life. And will never happen again. So I have to go through these processes. I have to go through various things, and that's going to be part of the journey, and I will continue to share those things with you, such as going to outpatient therapy, maybe possibly going to anger management, going through, I don't know, alcohol programs. Whatever I have to go through to get through this process and come out on the other end much brighter and much shinier so that I can continue developing this podcast and growing from it. But that's the thing that you have to remember is that if you don't grow from it, what's the use of it? If you're just trying to get through this process just to get through the process, that's not the case. But if anything taught me a lesson, it was going to court on Monday, and it was just a simple process. I literally stood in front of that judge less than 60 seconds. Do Do you understand what you're charged with? Yes. How do you plead? But who's representing you? But see you later. See you in April. And then we go from there. We show up for that, and then we'd go from there, and there's a new court date from there. And then let the process and the pleading begin. And that's just how it works. But you sit there and you twirl in your mind. Your mind continues to just go, oh. And then you start thinking of all these fiascos and stuff like that. And that's where it goes wrong. Even on Monday when here's an interesting thing. I understand, how do I say this? I went to court dressed up. I had a nice blazer on, had a nice dress shirt on, had a nice pair of jeans and a nice pair of dress boots, and I was overdressed. This is court in Columbia, Tennessee. I keep wanting to say Missouri. Columbia, Tennessee. And I'm in a courtroom, and these guys look like they just rolled out of bed. Have a packed courthouse. These people just look like they were rolled out of bed, man. Bedhead, shirts untucked, just wearing Crocs. And I'm like, I'm in Columbia, Tennessee. I think most of the people thought I was in the courtroom as a lawyer because I had my paperwork and I was looking like I did. And, and quite frankly, looking at life many years ago, I really considered going that direction in life, and not much I can do about that now. But let's keep rolling with this. And so that's my current status. I'll continue to do these, and I'll be plugging in every Monday and Wednesday for podcasts and doing various podcasts. And some of the things that I have put on the side, I will now bring back. We were doing a lot with Barcade and the Barcade Music Festival and the status of the Barcade Music Festival, and we will get back to that on these next pods, and we will continue to do them on a regular basis every Monday and every Wednesday. And I will continue to put those out there. Please go to the podcast page of Lomentini and subscribe. We need to get the message out there, and the more subscriptions, the more people that can hear the message of what's going on and how I'm processing it, what I'm doing, and hopefully we can push that out there with some more people. And then the Barcade page. There is so much content. I have barely scratched the surface of Barcade, as you can see, and we used to have this going constantly, so we'll get that back going. Even if, unfortunately, the festival might be postponed due to current situations, and that's okay. Nobody's hurt. Nobody is out of any money. Everybody's fine. As my good friend Jared Weeks of Saving Abel said, hey man, the stars just have not aligned yet. Let them align. Don't try and control the narrative. And that's another thing that we should talk about. Is when you try to control your narrative, and that's what was going on with me with the whole suicide attempt. I say attempt now because obviously I'm not very good at it. Because if you're going to kill yourself, kill yourself. I don't mean it that way. I'm just saying in conversation here. 988 on your phone for help, for someone to talk to. Reach out to your family, reach out to your friends, reach out to coworkers, talk about it. I've had so many people reach out to me and say, man, if you ever need to talk to me. One of the sweetest texts I just got as of yesterday was a coworker of another place, that previous place that I was at. And she said, listen, you were the sweetest person to me. You always said nice things to me and talked to me. And my heart aches for what you're going through. If you ever need anything, please, I'm here to talk. Text me anytime. And that means and when people say, let me know what you need, if you need anything, I know that's a blanket statement when people say that, because a lot of people, when they need something, they need money. So when you say money, it's like, oh, I can't help for that, but anything else. it brings a chuckle. Unfortunately, I haven't had to deal with that too much, but not meaning as far as what I have actually have needed to survive. There's been a lot of very generous people out there walking with me through this. And it's been nice. It really has been nice, but you got to understand, people genuinely have really good hearts, and they want to be able to be there for you. They want to be able to help you. But everybody else has got their own life to live. Like the previous pod that I talked to about, Tad, one of my very dear friends for many years, back in Kansas always said to me, people really don't give a crap, Patrick. They have their own lives to live. Yes, they care and they don't want anything bad to happen, to call if you need anything. But really, in all reality, Patrick, people have their own things going on. Okay, take care of business, take care of other people, help them if you can, and just keep moving on with your life and care for those as much as you can. But actually, because another thing I will never forget is David, my lawyer of 20 plus years ago, told me, today you're front page news, tomorrow you're the paper the dog's pooing on. So just don't take it so seriously. Yes, it hurts. Yes. But this is now 5 weeks old now. She obviously has moved on. I haven't heard a peep from her. And I'm getting to a point where it's, you know what? It is what it is. The 4 years didn't mean anything. The 5 years that we knew each other didn't mean anything. And so people just become done. It's a phenomenon that I have yet to grasp. And I understand it. I guess I understand it. But it's one of those things that's, man, I don't know how you turn it off like that. I really don't. I just don't know how people are just done. And that's fine. If you're just done, I got to realize it. I have to come to terms with it. I haven't come to terms with it yet, but I'm starting to wonder that. But this is all the crap in between that we talked about, surviving suicide and all the crap in between. And it's an interesting title because some people are getting it kind of, oh, you mean there's more than one suicide attempt and all the crap in between? It's surviving the moment and all the crap that leads you there. And maybe you should change the title. What do you guys think? Surviving suicide and all the crap that leads you there, or all the crap in between? The crap in between, catchy, kind of makes you wonder. It's kind of like that book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. That book has nothing to do with the title, but it's catchy and it gets you. So that is the book that's coming out for me. And there's a lot of interesting things in that book that you guys will learn about me. Various things from my very first marriage, things about this current marriage, and there will never be another marriage again. So you can quote me on that. As of this day, there will never be another marriage for Patrick. But that doesn't mean that there won't be another relationship or something else going on down the road, but that is not I have a 3-year plan, and part of that plan is getting through this, growing from it, learning from it. I'll only be 57, handsome as always. Kidding. But in those 3 years, I'm only 57. Some of the people that I follow are already in their mid-60s to late 60s, people that I admire their relationships, I admire their careers, I admire their message, I admire their things, and they're in their late 60s. Some of them are in their 70s. So there's 20 plus years left in Patrick. Why not let God determine when Patrick passes versus trying to control that narrative because I'm distraught? You're distraught about your place where you live because you don't have the place that you used to live in. You don't think they make more places to live? Figure it out. You're distraught about the lack of money. They make a lot of money in this world. Go make some more. You're distraught about not having a woman in your life. God made 7.3 billion people. I think there's another person out there. Not important, but you get the point. You're distraught about not having the car that you want to drive at this moment. Man, there's millions of cars on the road. You'll find another car. Don't worry about it. I'm telling this to myself because I'm speaking to you out there. Don't worry about it. Get up, take a breath, put your clothes on, get out and about. And that was the key for me. That was the key. I wasn't getting out and about. I was isolating myself. And that's the problem. Because we, as human beings, I have learned, we're not meant to be isolated. We are not meant to be alone. We are creatures of, I don't even have the right phrase. We are creatures that are meant to hang out with one another. We are supposed to interact with each other. That's why they have groups, and that's why they talk, and that's why they have things. And if we were meant to do it by ourselves, why would God go through the whole process of all this? So it is important to us to have those relationships in our lives and be out and about so that we can help each other. And it's not all about Patrick, helping Patrick. I want to help anybody I can. And I feel blessed that there has been several people that have reached out from this message that have said, man, I needed to hear that. man, it's been great watching your process. And I think that alone has made my heart feel good about where we are in all this whole process, because people have said, I've been following you on social media. I've been following your pods. I love your process. It went from crazy, unbelievable, to dark, to what are you doing to yourself, to look at you surviving, and you can see God moving. You could see the Holy Spirit moving through me. And that's a big shout out to Jonathan for baptizing me and helping me keep the word. And one of the things I didn't do on a consistent basis before all of this was just read out of the Bible. Just open a page, start out in John and then move your way through it. And that's been a big help, because you get those words into your head and magical things start to change and people talk. God, for example, I was very distraught about my real estate license. I was very distraught about my real estate career. And that's only because I sat there not talking to anybody, and just tried to figure out in my head. Because I'm trying to figure it out by myself in my head. How do I fix this? How do I fix that? So I talked to my broker, the principal broker, Deborah, God bless her. She's awesome. Simply Home, where I work, brokerage-wise, by carbonated water. She's fantastic. Simply Home is very interesting, owned by a guy named Sean McHugh, and he's the owner. And then he's got principal brokers underneath for the various locations. So I talked to Deborah about my current situation, and I had just renewed my license. I had just paid for my E&O insurance and a W car, a membership, and all of that. So it was like, I still got 2 years and a whole year. I don't want to retire it. And all of this is because I think I'm going away. I think I'm going to get locked up. I think I'm going to go away. And this is all made up in my head. There's nothing saying that I'm going away. This is all part of lawyer stuff, court stuff, and things that I've got to do on my end. And 90%, 95%, I'm not going anywhere. But in my head, I am. So I'm worried about everything. What about my real estate license? What about my hair license? I can't lose this if I get this. And so I just reached out, and then I didn't get the answer I was looking for out of Deborah. Not that she did anything wrong, but I didn't get the answer I was looking for. So I reached out to the owner, Sean, and told him my dilemma, told him what was going on. He's been following me on social media. And just because people don't respond or don't like or don't put some sort of response on your posts doesn't mean they're not watching it. There's several of those teaser posts that I put out there for the podcast, and maybe it'll get 3 or 4 likes or hugs or hearts or whatever, but there's 200 people just watch the video. So people are paying attention. They're following. A lot of people don't know what to say. What do you say? It's a weird situation. It's odd. A lot of people can't relate, but they may know somebody who can. This is a side story. Real quick. I was talking to one of my very dear clients getting his haircut yesterday, and the response is, man, where have you been? We missed you, man. You are needed. We love you. You're more than just a barber. That's beautiful. But I told him the story because he didn't know the whole story, and I told him what I did. And this is where you just don't know. I'm going to speak right to the... This is because you just don't know, and you're just so caught up in yourself. I told him what I did to myself. And he sat there and got choked up and teared up and looked at me, and he said, my brother killed himself last year. Let that moment sit in. Here I am, standing there, alive, telling him how I tried to do it, how I tried to kill myself. And then he looks at me and said, my brother did it a year ago. And the ripple effect and the effect of his family and on him as his brother, a scar forever. Yeah, I got a scar on my neck because I put a zip tie around my neck and tried to make it all go away. So I'm sitting there telling him that, and that is a complete side note of what we were talking about. There are a lot of people out there with a lot of problems that are going through a lot of stuff that you just don't know about. And yet here you get so wrapped up in your own petty stuff. So I am stripped of a lot of things, but I'm still breathing. I still have a hair life. I still have a real estate life. I still have a barcade life. And those things are still alive, still kicking, and are created because of me with the help of a lot of people. So I want to throw it all away. And I forget that not only am I touching the lives of the people, the 180 clients that I see on a regular basis cutting hair, but all of the people that I've touched their lives across the country that have reached out and seen my podcast. Several of them are saying, hey, do you remember cutting my hair back in Kansas? Hey, I got my hair cut by you in South Carolina. Hey, do you remember us up here in Alaska? Hey, do you remember us out here in Hawaii? Hey, do you remember, hey, my good friend down in Florida? Dude, there's people that still care about you and still think about you. Hey, we're not in the same state. We're really far away. But that's what the beautiful thing about social media is. We can still stay in touch with you and see your progress. There's a lot of bullshit on Instagram. There's a lot of BS on Facebook. There's a lot of crap, especially on TikTok and all of this other social media platforms. So at least what I can do, or at least what I can do in response to that, is put some real stuff on there that people are really going through. At least what I'm going through, and hopefully it relates to some people and helps them get through what they're going through. So back where we were, I was talking about my licenses, and I reached out to Deborah, my broker. And of course, I'm being petty. I don't think it's petty. I'm just trying to figure out a way not to lose it. And other things are starting to add up, and I was getting worried about it and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know what? Why don't I just call the owner and talk to him about it? So I reached out to the owner. He had changed his number, so that got a little frustrating. Reached out on Instagram, Facebook, and we finally connected. Sean and I did. And God bless. God speaks to you through other people. And one of the nicest men walking the planet, and he took care of everything. And there's nothing for Patrick to worry about as far as his real estate career or his real estate license or any of those things that I'm worried about, or even my hair. And this process that I'm going through on the court level, it is what it is, and you just got to get through it. And there's a very good chance, more than 80, 90% of the chance, that nothing's going to happen through that system that's going to affect those licenses, and everybody just keeps growing and moving forward. So that's my message, and that's where I wanted to be today, talking about and that's part of the process, right? That's part of the status, right? You guys want to know where Patrick is, and this is where he's at today. He's frustrated. And it's not a bad frustration. It's a frustration of growth and frustration of change. And change is never easy. On my end, everything has changed. My residence, where I live, but there's some comfort in it that I'm familiar where I'm at. And it's not all bad. And each day gets better, and we keep moving forward. So that's where we are right now. I got a little heated there on that one moment, and I liked it. Because you never know what other people are going through, and that's about relationships. And I'm not talking about boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend. I'm talking about relationships and people in all aspects of relationships, about being real, honest, and forthcoming, and just trying to be a better person. And that was where I think I wasn't, I guess, I don't know, I'll say it. I don't know if this is correct, but I don't know if I took it for granted that it was always going to be there. What's the purpose of marriage if you go through tough times together, right? I'm not minimizing what happened. I am not minimizing what happened. I'm saying everybody goes through tough times. I've never done such a thing in my life. It was enough to change me. I'm sure it was enough to change her, but was it enough to waste our marriage? And she felt it was. So that's the part I've got to deal with and accept. I haven't been able to accept it, but each day it gets better and I just don't care. What I care about is getting through the process and everybody just lives their life. Would I like it differently? Yes. Is it going to happen? No. So why don't create more problems than you need, Patrick? Because we do create our own problems. Again, the phrase I said earlier in this podcast was problems don't happen to you. They happen because of you. And that is 99% accurate. There are the circumstances of unforeseen things that you had no control over, but most of the time, the problems you're facing are problems that you created through actions, however little those actions were over a period of time, or one gigantic action that happened. And that's where I'm at. None of this happened because of anybody else. There's other people involved, and I don't know, we'll talk about that at some other point. But the majority of everything that's going on in Patrick's life right now has been a combination of years of things, and such. That's where the book is coming into play. There are things that are going to hopefully blow your mind. My mother and my family has been asking me to write this book for years, especially because of the relationship I had in my first marriage and the complete 10 years of lies and BS. And it's interesting. Whenever I don't want to even get into it as far as wife, husband, male, female. But then again, you know what? I'm not going to, I'm going to own it. Okay. It might've been 10 years of lies. It might've been 10 years of BS and absolute utter nothing, but 4 kids came out of it, and I miss them all dearly, and I hope the best for them, and God rest Michael Vito, who passed away a couple years ago. I'm rambling now. I'm going to probably cut this out, but anyway, so we create our own problems, so let's not forget that. So regardless of a bad relationship or something at work, 99% of the time, guys, it's stuff that we have decided on happening. So that's what this is about. This is the crap in between. This is the crap that leads you to unfortunate decisions. So this is the stuff I want to continue to share, and we will continue to do that. We also, as a reminder, we will get back into the Barkaid stuff. We will get back at Barkaid. There it is. Back to Barkaid and get back onto the 50 States Challenge, start reaching out to all those people across the country. And we will continue this message about surviving suicide and all the crap in between. In addition to that, we're going to get back into real estate. We're going to get back into hair, and we're going to do pods on that and haircuts. And we had a fantastic, I started my first day at the Cuts and Blessings there in Franklin, where I started my career here in Middle Tennessee. And it was great. It was as if I never left. It's been 2 years since I've had a chair there. And oddly enough, I'm right back in the same chair that I started 3 years ago and never missed a beat. And so we're back at that. And then real estate's kicking back in. So a lot of things to share in progress. And I think a lot of you out there can tell from my attitude and where I'm at with all of this that I have definitely rebounded and definitely have a better attitude. Do I wish things were different? Yes, but they aren't. But what are my choices? I already tried the other choice and I'm not very good at it. So let's continue to grow and move forward. Okay, let's do that together. And until the next time, peace out.